Hello, brothers and sisters. Messenger, Christopher, Spirit World X, the Chosen One. How's everyone doing? It's once again a pleasure to have an opportunity to reach out to all of you and come to you with another worldwide paradigm shift show video shift clip upload. And of course, for all of you who are joining me for the first time, just to bring you abreast to what's going on here on YouTube is, what I'd like to do is welcome you to the Worldwide Paradigm Shift Show. And of course, what the Worldwide Paradigm Shift Show is all about, brothers and sisters, is it's about redemption of the Jew 9-dimensional conscious awareness and 7-sensory depth perception, electromagnetic, and fail-safe protocol Gentile 3-dimensional conscious awareness, 5-sensory in-depth perception, non-electromagnetic, higher fields of reincarnating and replicating conscious awareness, okay? The Worldwide Paradigm Shift Show is about restoring, bringing back into balance with our authentic trinities, with our authentic trinity, synchronization between all yang electromagnetic and yin conscious, non-electromagnetic conscious contributions that maintain our trinity's 3-divisional infinite existence. Why? To, brothers and sisters, save the innocent, pre-programmed, replicating capacities of the natural yin 3-dimensional and conscious awareness, conscious contribution, the animal kingdom, and the pre-programmed by design supportive environment of our Trinity's lowest division. Of course, that is for our collective infinite capacity as our matrices, middle co-creative Christ Yang conscious collective to experience by way of sensory depth perception, sensory organs, and sexual reproductive organs, and of course, electromagnetic manifest potential, our creation program. With this knowledge, I being the Chosen One, chief cornerstone, 9-dimensional conscious awareness, 7-sensory and depth perception aspect of our Jew and Gentile conscious realignment, I will maintain, with guidance from our Trinity's highest division, the advanced development and establishment of the World Christ Conscious community. And of course, I invite you all to apply our Trinity's highest conscious division's instructions to your everyday conscious function. Okay, let's see here. I have a couple other things I need to say. For time, brothers and sisters, for us getting it collectively together is running short. And though many try to stop this rise, judgment is now upon us and will not relent. So wherever you are, please pay close attention. Now, brothers and sisters, many of you wonder why so much of our reality is falling apart, why the environment is slowly fading, why our loved ones have such a short attention span, and why you must have money to survive on a planet that your infinite co-creative collective frequency of conscious awareness is the creator of. I'm sure many of you have these questions, and the answer to all those questions is right there. We have no conscious awareness or electromagnetic connection to that which can sustain our peace, advance, and flourish our survival. Our Trinity's highest infinite conscious division, our own infinite truth. Now, of course, I am going to do the best I can to transmit the information that I have prepared for you to you without getting so bit up by all of the mosquitoes and bothered by the bugs that are presently swarming all around this side of this building. And what I'd like to do is open this conversation up with the concept of mind control that all of us are, of course, being conditioned to understand. This level of conscious awareness that is presently influencing us and instructing us on social media in an attempt to hijack this redemption process, attempting to ingrain in us a idea about mind control that is really not real. These individuals are doing everything they can to facilitate your greater confusion. So what I'd like to do is open up this conversation with a discussion on mind control. So what is mind control? You and I both know that we are presently in a spiritual war, and as spirit beings, the war that is being ensued is the result of the reality of the fact that our conscious collective, it exists as a frequency, exists with 9-dimensional conscious awareness, and of course upon a frequency of electromagnetic manifest potential, as we are electromagnetic spirit beings, co-creators of this matrix program. So when it comes to mind control is about controlling of behavior, controlling of emotions, by reprogramming humanity with ape evolution, teaching humanity that we evolved out of apes. And of course, us being taught that we evolved out of apes, what that does is it, of course, delineates the our capacity to have any knowledge of frequency, and of course and consciousness, which exists on that frequency. All right. And of course, as a result of the individuals who have taught us about the parameters of our identity, having only the non-matrix program standard 3-dimensional conscious awareness and 5 sensory field of depth of non-electromagnetic potential and 5 sensory depth perception, we have been told that our mind, of course, is for the most part, where our value lies, and of course, and our looks, our mind and our looks, the bloodline we hold, and of course the function of our mind delegates our value, and of course none of this is true. Mind control is about degrading the natural order of conscious conversion of the infinite conscious awareness that, of course, exists behind the bodies of melanated men and women, blacks, Africans, or, of course, Jews, of course, to which is the actual identity delegation that these individuals should have. Inverting mind controls about inverting the frequency transmission capacity of these individuals, okay? And if not only these individuals, but the three-dimensional conscious awareness, non-electromagnetic frequency of conscious awareness's high vibrational aspect, which, by the way, exists within all Asian, Indian, European, and Arab women, okay? But the main target of inverting the frequency transmission, okay, the main target are Jewish men and women, all right? In an effort to maintain their disconnection from our Trinity's highest division, all right? Mind control is also about corrupting sensory depth perception. Now, when it comes to identity denotes conscious awareness and conscious function, all right? Identity, or consciousness, is electromagnetic and exists interdimensionally on an totally opposite vibrational frequency field, okay, than the material body, than matter, than the five sensory organs by which we are taught within this psychosocial structure to define our identity and the value of our identity by, all right? We exist in a simulation, a matrix program, all right? That is our Trinity's, that exists as our Trinity's lowest division, all right? And of course, by which we experience by electromagnetism. And when I'm saying we experience by electromagnetism, I'm speaking of primarily the black, melanated Jewish race, and of course the individuals that they transfer negative energy to by their sensory depth perception, their low vibrational sensory depth perception capacity, which should be, of course, a positive, which should be emitting a positive energy transmission by seven sensory depth perception, but as a result of the sensory depth perception capacity for so many thousands of years being lowered to a five sensory depth perception, five sensory organ stimulation experience, stimulation desire experience, of course, it primarily correlates to, the negative transmission of energy correlates to, or of course, is transmitted from the nine-dimensional conscious aware, seven sensory electromagnetically misaligned conscious function of Jews, transmitted to the Gentile conscious spectrum, high and low vibrational non-electromagnetic frequency aspects. All right. Boy, oh boy, these gnats are everywhere. So please continue to deal with me if you can. Let me get back to the place I was at. All right. So identity is not something that you can see. It is quantified by sensory depth perception capacity, the degree of high or low vibrational stimulation desire, and the conditioning of a field of conscious awareness, which lays bare the balanced or imbalanced, okay, the balanced or imbalanced emotional stability and electromagnetic alignment or misalignment from our authentic trinity's highest electromagnetic radio frequency spectrum, which is, of course, a field of consciousness that exists no differently than the invisible field of conscious awareness existing within your body, as we exist in our creation program, experiencing our creation, all right? In our matrix, there are only two prevailing fields of conscious awareness. One is nine-dimensional, with 7 sensory tools to interact with, of course, our Trinity's highest conscious division, and interact with itself as a reflection of conscious, nine-dimensional conscious awareness, having 7 sensory depth perception within opposite male and female avatar conversion reincarnation supports. Tools to undertake with the equalizing responsibility to the low vibrational reflective standard 3-dimensional conscious awareness contributions, having 5, 4, 3, and 2 sensory organ depth perception capacity, who do not reincarnate but replicate by our equalizing capacity, which exists by our electromagnetic potential. And while we reincarnate through sexual reproductive organs, and they replicate, while we reincarnate through sexual reproduction organs by replicating processes of pre-programmed gene sequence mutations, and experience through 7 sensory depth perception and 5 sensory organs, the balance of forces that sustain our 3-dimensional simulation creation experience. This is the standard purpose of our collective infinite existence. Because we are out of electromagnetic conscious alignment with our standard electromagnetic conversion model by 5 sensory organ, 5 sensory depth perception, sexual organ reprogramming, and 5 sensory organ stimulation conditioning, by the fail-safe protocol psychosocioeconomic religious conditions of the 3-dimensional conscious aware, our imbalance exists because our confidence and fears maintaining our emotions and our deceptive ego are by non-electromagnetic low vibrational currency, fiat currency, 5 sensory organ, 5 sensory depth perception, stimulation, conditioning, and a finite identity narrative. Now, I want to go further into the conversation of identity. Okay? Summary of God making man in our image. The story of the fallen angels, Lucifer in heaven, influencing the other angels to not see the way of their standard field of perception, the tree of life, the knowledge of good and evil, trees of life and death. This, brothers and sisters, is a 3-dimensional conscious awareness, 5 sensory and depth perception, collective conscious version of their origins. An explanation of how we, the 9-dimensional conscious aware, 7 sensory in-depth perception, middle co-creative Christ, Yang conscious reincarnating, electromagnetic frequency collective, also known as blacks, Africans, or Jews, Jays, okay, decided to lower our conscious awareness, corrupt our standard 7 sensory depth perception stimulation experience capacity to a non-electromagnetic five sensory state of free will, what the Gentiles call free will. That free will existing by our collective conscious frequency having a seven sensory depth perception capacity and a fail-safe protocol lower vibrational or five sensory depth perception field of capacity. Of course, that goes back to the tree of death and the tree of life, okay? So what we decided to do was, as I said, corrupt our standard seven sensory depth perception stimulation experience capacity to a non-electromagnetic five sensory state of free will, okay? Through many generations, reprogramming our cognitive capacity to acknowledge our infinite identity, converting by magnetism through a genetic replicating process, pre-programmed through finite, pre-programmed avatar conversion supports, all right? I'm sorry, somebody was saying hello to me, so please forgive me. Okay, so through many generations, reprogramming ourselves, our collective cognitive capacity, okay, to acknowledge our infinite identity, converting by magnetism through genetic through genetic replication process, through pre-programmed finite avatar conversion, gene sequence mutations to being defined in identity by them. Now, God as us. God as us. Okay, God as us, brothers and sisters, I'm sorry. Making man in our image is the three-dimensional conscious awareness, five sensory and depth perception version, okay, version of this fall in perception, okay? And still today, high and low vibrational aspects of our frequency collective desire to have a non-electromagnetic survival, identity, and existence narrative. Still desiring what we call free will, but of course under new management. The management of the three-dimensional in conscious awareness, five sensory in-depth perception, non-electromagnetic, Gentile spectrum, corporate hive mind. Now these individuals, we run amongst each other, peddling heaven and hell, peddling getting rich, praying for our enemies, and of course, all the other things that we peddle to each other so as to not only deceive one another, but maintain the low vibrational sensory depth perception experience that presently confounds not only our cognitive capacity, but maintains the confounding of the spirit or confounding and threatening our future generations, okay? Now, I want to change the subject here, and I want to talk about a couple of these individuals who do this peddling, all right? Why do so many fake spiritual Christians, Muslims, parade in a false reality narrative, okay, pushing greater imbalance as if tempting our Trinity's highest division, there are no consequences for what they are doing? Because, brothers and sisters, they know that not only is their religion, I'm sorry, I'm gonna, by the way, I'm reading from my notes. So if you're wondering why my eyes aren't coming directly into the camera, that's why. What you see, brothers and sisters, as I said yesterday, it's really not important. What's important is what you're hearing. So please pay more attention to what you're hearing and not so much what you're seeing. You know, I'm going to be smacking my hand around anyway, and it's going to, that doesn't happen in an atmosphere controlled room, but out here it does, okay? But why do these individuals run amongst us, peddling the false truths that, of course, maintain our false reality narrative, okay? These brothers and sisters, aspects of our frequency, they know that not only is their religion based in deception, okay? Deception of inverted conscious awareness, but they know for many generations up until now that the only thing that would trump interference, okay, interference is their ability to, their inability to influence our electromagnetic manifestation potential. The manifestation potential of our middle co-creative Christ Yang conscious collective to a non-electromagnetic state of conscious awareness. Maintained, again, by us having a divided frequency, okay, by triggering through three-dimensional conscious awareness programming and 5 sensory depth perception, sensory organ stimulation conditioning, a non-electromagnetic sensory depth perception stimulation desire between us as male or as high and low vibrational aspects of our collective frequency, which translates to our collective middle co-creative Christ Yang conscious frequency of electromagnetic potential by low vibrational three-dimensional conscious awareness conditioning, defining our identity by our male and female looks, our value by our features, and of course low vibrational currency, being electromagnetically misaligned from our Trinity's electromagnetic radio frequency spectrum. And of course, maintaining inversion of our frequency of electromagnetic potential. And give me 1 second, please. And also translates to us maintaining inversion of our frequency of electromagnetic potential. I'm sorry, you got to forgive me. I'm writing words where, like I told you before, I do a lot of abbreviations. So I kind of got lost there for a moment, and just let me catch on to where I am. Hello. Okay. Maintaining negative energy. Okay, here we are. Okay. Also translates to us maintaining negative energy transfer to the Gentile low vibrational aspect, corporate hive mind hijackers of our rebalancing protocol, to whom by that transfer have over many generations, for the purpose of supplanting the realignment of our collective consciousness with artificial intelligence, have monopolized all material wealth from generation to generation. Also which also maintains their ability to keep us chasing a carrot connected to a string tied around, of course, excuse me, I'm sorry about that again. Okay, a string tied around the end of a stick through television and radio frequency transmission programming. Our class caste system, let's move to that. Our class caste system is based in our Jewish host to Gentile suitor, high and low vibrational frequency aspects, negative energy transfer. And it's based in our Jewish low vibrational currency system, sensory depth perception, sensory organ stimulation, desire. While we Jewish hosts in our three-dimensional conscious awareness, psychosocial structure are considered second class, while we are considered second class and are cast out of mud, Gentiles are delegated first class and are cast out of our present low vibrational gene sequences, which of course it was by our negative electromagnetic manifest potential that we, of course, reincarnated as an infinite consciousness into. Okay? The early Gentile fail-safe protocol, three-dimensional conscious awareness, keepers of the covenant, which of course is the rebalancing protocol that I've been talking to you about, pre-programmed long before we entered this electromagnetically misaligned moment in our matrix program. All right. These individuals, the early Gentile fail-safe protocol, three-dimensional conscious awareness, keepers of the covenant to rebalancing and restoration of our frequency of nine-dimensional conscious awareness back to our standard electromagnetic conversion by negative pressure of three-dimensional conscious awareness, low vibrational sensory depth perception, standard function of the collective divided conscious awareness that we are, created the Bible, God, and the devil narrative, okay, as a three-dimensional conscious awareness testament to our fall in sensory depth perception and, of course, their origin story. Now, present-day psychologists, okay, when it comes to our mind and our conscious function, they, of course, being imbalanced, they tell us that it is a chemical imbalance that is, of course, creates most of the psychological issues that we deal with. Science talks about evolution and how it is, it is our nature to function in the way that we are functioning. Now, emotional, you gotta let me start one more time back, a couple lines back. Let me go back just a couple lines, okay? The three-dimensional conscious awareness, low vibrational and sensory depth perception, conscious function, or conscious collective of the divided conscious awareness, all right, created the Bible, God, and the devil, psychology and evolution narrative as a three-dimensional conscious awareness testament to our fall in sensory depth perception and, of course, their origin. Let us, speaking to our speaking to our Jewish negative electromagnetic attraction potential by our negative electromagnetic attraction by defining our identity as opposite male and female entities, activated the Gentile fail-safe protocol, replicating, rebalancing conscious control. Okay? So let us, speaking to our, between the high and low speaking of the high and low vibrational field of nine-dimensional conscious awareness existing behind the melanated male and female body, okay? Let us, speaking to our negative electromagnetic potential by defining our identity as opposite male and female entities, activate the Gentile fail-safe protocol, replicating, rebalancing conscious control. Let us create man in our image and likeness. Mankind is the Gentile. The Gentile conscious spectrum makes up the term mankind, who is an electrochemical automated, low vibrational shadow reflection of what we believe we are, who is convinced they are defined in identity by their flesh. The likeness that is spoken of in the book of Genesis is representative of our dependence on our fail-safe protocol, non-electromagnetic field of 5 sensory depth perception, and not our standard 7 sensory field of sensory depth perception, which exists by our unified 9-dimensional conscious awareness. Now, if you consider the song Hotel California, listen to that song, and in that song you'll hear the individuals who are singing it. The lead singer says that we are prisoners of our own device. We beg the Gentiles to stop the punishment, but they, as our shadow, only exist by our low vibrational sensory depth perception, 5 sensory organ stimulation desire being out of alignment with our natural order of electromagnetic conscious conversion. And of course, we exist as our biggest problem, okay? Now, the low vibrational Gentile Jew, the low vibrational Jew, and 3-dimensional in conscious awareness, and 3-dimensional in conscious awareness, 5 sensory in depth perception, corporate hive mind, in control of our psychosocial, geopolitical, religious, scientific, low vibrational, non-electromagnetic currency system, use many different ways of chaos to produce transgenerational confusion over the masses, starting with corruption by miseducation of your knowledge of your conscious, collective conscious, being 9-dimensional in awareness, and of course, being immortal, and your function of conscious awareness being electromagnetic. They also maintain confusion by corrupting the purpose of that electromagnetic attraction potential that exists by your frequency of conscious awareness, okay? And the purpose of your conversion capacity. In other words, you're told in the Bible that you live once and you die once. And Of course, none of that is true. Because the Jew and Gentile low vibrational conscious control aspect, co-conspirators of hijacking our rebalancing protocol and further inverting our Jewish host electromagnetic manifest potential by influencing us from generation to generation to maintain our electromagnetic misalignment. What they do, brothers and sisters, as a result of knowing that many within our frequency, what they do to maintain power over our capacity to rise, all right, into the truth of who we are, all right, what they do as a result of knowing that many within our frequency, for instance, Dr. Sebi, many within our frequency, within our electromagnetic frequency of conscious awareness, will create and maintain customs and traditions with their neighbors and their family that will go against the corporate hive mind, Jew and Gentile low vibrational aspect, necessity to maintain negative energy transfer from the Jewish host, okay, that would be melanated men and women, and by their electromagnetic potential, okay, so to maintain negative energy transfer. Hey, brother, how are you, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, brother.
All right, I'll talk to you again. Tell your mother I said hi. All right. Okay, so because of the fact that they know that we will create and maintain customs and traditions with our neighbors and family that will go against the corporate hive mind, Jew and Gentile low vibrational frequency aspect, corporate hive minds, necessity to maintain negative energy transfer from Jewish host through low vibrational three-dimensional conscious awareness programming and five sensory depth perception, sensory organ stimulation conditioning. Many gatekeepers, now this might trigger some of you, but it's reality. Many gatekeepers like Louis Farrakhan, Papa Duck, Billy Carson, 19 Keys, Rashad Jamal, preachers and pastors, politicians, foundational black Americans will, while the Gentile corporate hive mind sends out hitmen to silence dissent, okay, consider the African coups that have been going on, okay, while the corporate hive mind is sending out the hitmen to do their job, the individuals I mentioned a moment ago, what they do is they mimic aspects of our natural state by borrowing a little from here, a little high vibrational, nine-dimensional conscious awareness and good seventh sensory depth perception, sensory organ stimulation customs and traditions, okay? Grabbing some advice from here and from there, all right? Give me a moment. Cars going by. From the silenced Dr. Sebi, for instance, using him as an example, and what they'll do is they will put all of these different things together to create and maintain a narrative that will keep you in confusion. For example, Mr. Farrakhan talks about Jesus, of course, existing as a man, when the reality is the Jesus that this man is talking about literally is the high vibrational aspect of the collective nine-dimensional field of conscious awareness and seven sensory depth perception of conscious awareness and electromagnetic manifest potential of the Yang conscious, or the collective, or the black people, or the African people, or the Jews. Okay? So Farrakhan talks about Jesus, who is actually a frequency, but Farrakhan only serves Allah. Now, of course, the Islam is an Arab religion, and it has nothing to do with the process, with the evolutionary process of melanated men and women, nor does this have anything to do with why it is melanated men and women find themselves in the situation they are, the psychosocial situation that they are. As a matter of fact, if you go over to Dubai, African men and women are, for the most part, enslaved, and these are the very individuals to whom to whom's religion Mr. Farrakhan is attempting to align all of you with. Okay, and of course, the Islamic tradition has nothing to do with the reality of your collective consciousness, electromagnetic manifest attraction potential, guiding you into the present low vibrational avatars that you presently, avatar reincarnation conversion supports that you're presently in. Okay, so he only serves a law, but will tell you not to eat pork. Okay, but also he will tell you not to eat pork, but he also promotes eating Jewish when he knows that real Jews don't have a custom of eating meat. All right, he promotes eating Jewish kosher chicken, and of course tells your woman, after telling you that we have, as a race, have begun to function like animals. Okay, he tells your woman to drink cow's milk that doesn't have any hormones, while only animals, brothers and sisters, should be consuming animal milk. Now, brothers and sisters, in the same way, Rashad Jamal, Billy Carson, Papa Duck, Young Pharaoh, and many, many others are being used on social media at this time to pull together Bobby Hemmett. I don't want to forget him. K Reno are being used to not only watch my videos, take all of the information out of my videos, and of course create their own videos with false date and time stamps say their video came out 5 years ago, 10 years ago, so that if in case you do happen to have any of my videos go into your algorithmic feed as a result of you having an interest in consciousness, you will hear these individuals saying 10 years ago what I am presently saying since 2021, the beginning of our this redemption process happening online. Okay, these individuals not only pull from my videos, but they also pull from different knowledge that is available to only the highest levels of the Masonic order, who control Islam, who control Christianity, who control Catholicism, who control the World Economic Forum, who control the supply chains, who control everything. All right. They get information from the highest levels of this non-electromagnetic government organization, okay? Of course, it doesn't call itself a government organization, but you best believe that Peter Thiel, all of these individuals, they are all Masons. All of these individuals attempting to install artificial intelligence and mass surveillance, they are all part of the same cabal, all right? So they get information from these individuals so as to present themselves when they do create their videos as the bringers of the truth. Like, for instance, Mo Gaudet, he is one of the initiators of artificial intelligence, but he's appearing on social media as if he is sounding the alarm of how much of a threat that artificial intelligence will be. And of course, in the same way, Thomas Ballou has recently uploaded a video with a date and time stamp for 9 months ago, and I don't know who the guest it was on that show, but the thumbnail had everything to do with this being a simulation and how we're in a simulation. And the gentleman the guest who, of course, was on his show, this guest, of course, he was talking about how it is. I didn't get too far into the video, but he was talking about how it is. Consciousness is the basis for, all of our experiences in this simulation program. Brothers and sisters, all of these individuals are working in concert. One second. All of these individuals are working in concert with each other at this time so that you don't have any connection to the truth, and so that you will pay no mind to all of the very real information that you're receiving on channel Christopher Spirit World X, which is being, of course, censored at the moment. And of course, the individuals doing it have manipulated all of my views. They've manipulated the years that I've put my videos out. Even though they started in 2021, most of my videos were just made 2 years ago, and none of this is true. I've made videos every year, and I don't know for sure if they've done too much manipulation of the years, but I know for a fact, or the years I put these videos out, whether it was 2021, 2022, 23, 24, but I do know for a fact that these individuals are manipulating all of my views, manipulating all of my subscribers, censoring my channel, and the whole cabal is watching the progress that I have been making since 2021 in this redemption process, and they are doing everything they can to keep you disconnected from our authentic Trinity's highest field of consciousness and electromagnetic potential. Doing everything they can. They will tell you that I am, that I'm not authentic. They will tell you that I'm doped out. They will tell you that I have addiction issues, and these people will do anything they can to maintain the attempted hijacking of this redemption process. But I will not allow that to happen. So to get back to where I was, okay? Why do these brothers and sisters from within our melanated race, why do they do what they do? This is done, again, I'm going to read that again for you. This is done because the Jew and Gentile low vibrational aspect, three-dimensional conscious aware, five sensory and depth perception hive mind, desiring to advance a non-electromagnetic, inverted in conscious awareness function and electromagnetic potential reincarnation process of our high vibrational electromagnetic frequency collective consciousness desires to absorb the possibility of the high vibrational sensory depth perception stimulation desire of the high vibrational spiritual remnant. Okay, the remnant's electromagnetic potential to keep the access point to imbalancing our conscious awareness through three-dimensional conscious awareness, five sensory depth perception, stimulation, programming, and conditioning, so that we never rise to, of course, reactivation. All right. Excuse me. Though they tell you that you're God, let's go back to what the individuals working for them do to keep you in confusion. Though they tell you that you're God without telling you who is psychologically broken, how you are God, and though they influence you to take care of your body, all right, it's not your spiritual condition that your first real body, okay, it's not your, I'm sorry, forgive me. Though they influence you to take care of your body, it's not your, I'll just say this plainly. Your real body, okay, is the earth. And your second body is the finite gene sequence mutation that you, an infinite being, have reincarnated into, so that you can experience this infinitely pre-programmed to exist three-dimensional creation program. All right. So that is your second body. The first body is your earth. Okay. Let me see here. Excuse me. And of course, they tell you to take care of your body, okay, to trigger your male and female sensory organ, non-electromagnetic, low vibrational currency system, and low vibrational identity conditioning, where you're encouraged to make money to spend on your ego, okay, where you're so that, of course, you can maintain your low vibrational five sensory depth perception stimulation desire, okay, where you're influenced to believe, okay, in a psychosocial system where you're influenced to believe that it's not about who works the hardest, okay, in many industries, but it's about who has the most money. And the reason why these people, like to, spread this, this idea around to each other is because of the fact that they know that the more money they have, the greater capacity they have to take that money and, of course, further advance the development of our low vibrational, non-electromagnetic currency system and psychosocial structure, where, of course, you have food stores all over the place where you smell the flesh of your natural yin conscious contribution aspect burning and wafting out of their buildings. And of course you have individuals who are nothing more than out of control, emotionally unstable egos running around with their finite jewels and their wigs and their makeup and their cars and their clothes, attempting to impress upon each other the idea of having value. Now, brothers and sisters, what I'm going to do now is stop this video at this time, and I am going to start this video once again in another location. I want to thank you for joining me, and I thank you for putting up with the way in which I am delivering this truth to you. I know that I certainly have ruffled many feathers with this video upload, and I certainly, my only desire is to wake all of you up. My desire is not to ruffle feathers. You must understand that it is very difficult for me to know the depth of truth that I am aware of, because it hurts to know that I have been a part, my conscious contribution, believing that I am a person, and of course a corporation, so that I can be under the jurisdiction of an individual, corporate, collective field of consciousness who controls all, of the corporations that maintain our survival, so that they can, of course, maintain jurisdiction over who I am for as long as I have. It really hurts to know that I have been a part of this, and so you're not the only individuals who are having your feathers ruffled, okay? But my advice is with me, you decide to no longer allow yourself to just be a bird flying within the pen that you've been flying around in, because certainly only the beasts of the field exist by three-dimensional conscious awareness and 5-sensory depth perception. Only the beast is meant to have a 5-sensory depth perception stimulation experience in this Matrix program. And my hope is that you join me as a collective field of consciousness, a remnant who is soon to have an amazing experience with the Most High division of our Trinity showing up right on time, right when we need it most. Thank you again for joining me, and carry on.